Oh, once again, I'm waking up with I'm completely blown away at what God does through his kids. How I'm blessed. Now people bless me. And over this time, sorry, over this time that I've been singing with my little ukulele here, and this is the new one, so I really like this one, but don't tell the other ukulele. Through the time that I've been doing this, I realized that I was sick. I was really sick 2 years ago. And I was really very sad when I was sick. And how God visited. Excuse me just a second here. I'm not crying, I'm just... I was sick and I just had a lot of stuff going on. And God decided to just take me out of all that stuff by giving me more sickness. Isn't that great? Isn't that the kind of story that you hear at church? It's like, God helped me get out of my sickness by making me more sick. Isn't that just, it doesn't quite play with a lot of, people in churchy philosophy stuff. But here I am, Christmas Eve morning, alive and doing what I hope is God's will. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. But I'm just so grateful to be here, singing to you, singing the word. And this morning we are going to sing a prayer that God gave us. There we go. The Lord's Prayer. And in the notes I said, well, it's the prayer we should pray prayer that God taught us. And this is yours is the kingdom. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, our daily bread. Amen. Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Amen. Forgive us our debts as we have also forgiven our debtors. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom and the power and glory. Amen. Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Amen. 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 Good morning. Look at this. Sing the word on Christmas Eve morning. I am your host, TJ McCormick, and I am so glad you are joining me this morning. It's early. It's rainy in my part of the world. It's so beautiful. I love rain. And the desert really needs it. I wish it would rain about 40 inches so that our lake could just get a little more full. We love Lake Mead, but boy, it is low. But we're not here to talk about lakes and rain. We're here to talk about the Word of God. And in Matthew, Jesus gives a lesson, and a lesson on how to pray. And there's some components to this prayer that are pretty obvious. But I think there might be a little underlying stuff, and I'll get to that in just a second. But this is the prayer. And by the way, my sister Marilyn gave me some packets of hot chocolate. So it's not coffee this morning, it's abuelita. So thank you, Mary. Boy, that's good. Really not healthy for me, but I'll have a banana or something later today, or some raspberries and yogurt. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. This is recognizing that we are talking not about our Father, like the guy who was responsible for our existence or upbringing or whatever. This is our Father in heaven. And honestly, I think our Father in heaven has a lot more to do with our existence and our upbringing than our earthly father. But here we are. Hallowed be your name. Holy, hallowed. And the interesting thing about the history of the Hebrew faith is that God, Jehovah, his name was revered. Even just his name, not even his embodiment or his presence, or it was just his name. The speaking of his name was forbidden in many places because it was so set apart. And again, holy just means it's just dedicated to one thing, or that it doesn't need to get messed up with all the other earthly, junky stuff. Hallowed be your name. We recognize at the beginning of this prayer who God is. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And for most of the world, we don't want that. Not we. They don't want the kingdom to come. They kind of want God to stay away because they're having too much fun doing their stuff. But we who believe in God desire to have him return, to have him bring his kingdom back to this world. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, God's will gets done in heaven. The angels, the saints, all the other creatures that exist in heaven live for one purpose, to do God's will. And nobody questions what God wants done. But here on earth, your will be done on earth. God, what do you want us to do? That's a great question to ask every morning. God, what do you want me to do? I don't have to say, what is your will, God? It's like you don't have to be all religious. Just ask God, what do you want me to do today? And out of the responsibilities that you have, things like, make your bed, clean your house, I've got dogs. I'm not going to go into detail what dogs need. So we've got our daily chores, but we also need to know what our God chores are. God, what do you want us to do today? Do you want us to pick up a ukulele in the middle of the night? Well, morning. and sing. Whatever you want, God, it's yours. You get it. Boy, I am gonna go long today. Just relax. You might want to just pause it for a second, get a cup of coffee, and come back. But because I haven't even gotten to the second part of the first verse. Give us this day our daily bread. And no, it's not an echo. It's just the way I wrote the song. It's like this thought was too short to say one time. So, Lord, provide for us. And it's not only a request, but it's also a recognition of how God provides for us. God gives us everything we need. And I know some of you are trying to process that right now and maybe saying, well, didn't the farmers grow the bread, and didn't they grow the wheat? You don't grow bread. I know. I went to elementary school. I know where bread comes from. It comes from wheat and grains, and you know, we didn't grow the bread. We made the bread, and the bread comes from the grain, and the grain it comes from the ground, and the ground is the process of growing food is amazing, and it's been going on for millennia, not centuries, not just centuries, millennia. And the food just keeps coming because farmers are given this knowledge, this God-given knowledge of how to do stuff, to grow our bread. But in the end, it's God who provides these things. Yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Once again, I have mixed the words up a little bit. That actually comes at the end of the prayer. But I just like saying yours is the kingdom, yours is the power, yours is the glory. Just, again, recognizing what God does. God does these things. He establishes his kingdom. He has the power to do things. That great song that my friend Joseph inspired, you turn prayer requests into praise reports. We don't pray to a God who can't, but the one who can. And that is our God. So don't forget it. And I made sure you're not going to forget it because I sing it about a dozen times in the song. Forgive us our debts as we have also forgiven our debtors. I'm going to let that sink in for a second while I sip my abuelita. Thank you again, sister. Forgive us our debts. Okay. So here's the problem with this sentence. If you don't do the second part, you don't get the first part. Oh God, please forgive me. I owe you $1 million. So there you go. God forgives that debt. Then you turn around and somebody owes you $5 million. And you're like, throw him in prison. He owes me money. He's gonna pay it back every penny. And the absurd premise of that parable is not absurd at all. Because people want to get out of trouble, but they don't necessarily want the people who cause trouble in their lives to get out of it. And if we hold back God's forgiveness in people's lives, it doesn't work that way, because if you don't forgive, you don't get the forgiveness. And I just pray that you do not fall for the lie of unforgiveness. Lie of unforgiveness? What does that mean? The lie of unforgiveness is that you can be unforgiving and still be forgiven. And you know as well as I do, we all have sinned. We all have fallen short of the glory of God. If we say we have no sin, we are deceiving ourselves. So, God, forgive us my debts. Forgive my debts as I forgive those around me. And extreme forgiveness, the kind of forgiveness that goes way beyond what the world would allow. You know, there's people in prison that have done horrible, rotten things. There are people out of prison who got away with it. I mean, the justice system didn't catch up to them quite yet. But who who are we to judge? And the levels of sin that we've tried to um, make in our minds. Well, at least I'm not a hypocrite like that politician guy. Well, at least I'm not murdering people. Dude, Jesus kind of laid it out. He says, if you call somebody an idiot, you're guilty. What does that mean? That's a whole nother story. But trust me, if you don't forgive everybody for everything, you have problems because you're not a forgiving person. You have to be a forgiving person to receive God's forgiveness. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. By the way, I'm not looking at the clock today. I've actually kind of hidden it. So if I go way over, that's just because. And do not lead us into temptation. Why would you want to pray that? Because there is temptation in our lives. Lots of temptation. I know. Do not lead us into temptation. But, and I'm sorry, I forgot, I keep forgetting to sing it the correct way. Let's see. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. See, I forgot the evil one when I sang the song. So that was my fix for that. So just cut that out and plug it back into the beginning of the video. Do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. We are going to be tempted. We are going to be tempted. We're going to be tested. We're going to be tried. Because gold cannot be gold unless it is purified through fire, through trial. And that's what is happening with us, is that we are tempted. But God, don't lead us into temptation. We don't want to go running with, without our armor into temptation. Because if you don't have your belt, breastplate, shoes, shield, helmet, sword, you haven't prayed, then you're going to not only be tempted, but you're probably going to fail the temptation or fail the test. But deliver us. Ooh. It's interesting. Most things, when we deliver them, like, it arrives. It comes to our place. All y'all doing Amazon and stuff's arriving at your house daily. You might need to talk to God about that, because you might be spending too much money. And I'm sure my wife is rolling her eyes right now because she knows I like Amazon too. But things get delivered to us. But now God is suggesting that we get delivered from, almost like a rescue. So God, rescue us from the evil one. And if you don't think Satan doesn't exist, if you think it's just some weird fairy tale, like a bad Quentin Tarantino movie, trust me, there is evil, and it is embodied by Lucifer, by Satan. And he brings that. And he brings the people that fell from heaven to come into your life and to take away a little bit of truth. Then it grows, and then it grows, and pretty soon you got I'll go this way. Whole lot of truth. And finally, you are so far away from the truth, you don't even know it hits you. Oops, here it comes again. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Oh man, I love singing that. Especially right after we pray, God, deliver us from the evil one. Lead us not into temptation. Why? For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. I have enjoyed going probably way too long, but it's no big deal because 20 minutes. This is a record. Well, as you know, this is Sing the Word, and I am TJ McCormick. We have been talking about the Lord's Prayer out of Matthew, and I hope that you have a blessed and wonderful Christmas day. I hope that you have glad tidings. I hope that you have joy. And, I can say joy to the world, but let's say joy to the members of Sing the Word. Because that is my prayer for you. Admonish one another with psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Sing with grace in your hearts to the Lord, because you want to let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. You don't need a Lamborghini this Christmas. You need the word of Christ, and then you'll be the richest man in town. I am available on Facebook groups. After I close, I drop the link into there. I have a Facebook page, and the page is Sing the Word LV. And I just pray that this Christmas, if you have a nutty family, I just pray that the nuts just don't get to you. I pray that you would bring joy and take away more joy. I pray that you would bring forgiveness and you would experience even more forgiveness in your life. And until next week, Merry Christmas. And we'll see you, hopefully, Lord willing, on Monday. Bye-bye.